Yep, I'm back here. I am in the sunroom. It's hot today, actually, for the first time since I left Costa Rica. And I'm annoyed. I have a lot of things to talk about today. If you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Tidkamai. I wrote for Pathos for nearly 10 years, a column called No Longer Quivering. And I've seen a lot of really crazy stuff go down those years. Nothing crazier than our recent switch over to a very conservative Supreme Court. I've got to talk about that just a little teeny tiny bit this morning. Um, I wanted to say hit like, subscribe. Hey, Mandy, what a day. You were exactly right. Don't bully anyone. I talk about today, not Judge Alito, not Judge Kavanaugh, not anybody. Even if your neighbor is in your face fighting with you and screaming with you about this is quite the day. And my son pointed out that they were going to roll back, they were going to roll back birth control and gay marriage. And I don't doubt that one bit. Hey, Pink Nana, I'm not a fan of abortion. I've talked about that before. For me personally, it would be a no-go if that was even a possibility. I can tell you it is definitely not a possibility anymore for me. I had a hysterectomy some years ago, but I'm less comfortable with the idea of telling anybody else that they can or cannot have an abortion. So that's why I was curious about how they were going to rule on this, even though this is an issue that doesn't affect me, it affects millions. I saw yesterday a report. Ooh, sorry, I'm leaking all over myself. That Mexico is gearing up. There are places in Mexico where you can get the morning after pill and a chemical abortion. There are abortion clinics that are open. They're talking about ramping up in case the U.S. bans abortion. I'm so distraught. Did you see Amy King's Twitter? No, I did not, Jen. I blocked her a long time ago when she was trying to get attention over something and had posted something that was the most toxic, fundy thing ever. And I was just like, no, girl. I felt sorry for you with the situation with that troll, but no more. I'm guessing she said something pretty awful. Let's go take a look. Oh, and I'm saying my inbox is full, so I have a feeling people are upset. I'm probably blocked. I wouldn't doubt I'm blockity block. I can't help but to wonder, okay, never mind. That's old. January 7th. Well, I must be blocked. Okay, I am blocked, obviously, from Amy Duggar King. Thank you, Jackie. I don't think we should tell anyone how to live their lives. Peanut, that's how I look at it. And she's praising Jesus today. Taking rights away from women and praising Jesus. Hallelujah. I'm actually pretty annoyed with that, knowing all that this morning. It's just been a tough morning. Knowing that, and now I'm worried. I just sent it to your Twitter. Okay, that's what that noise was. Let me look at my Twitter. Oh, because I have definitely had some. Okay, shut up. Okay, here is her tweet. Also, I'm sure there will be guidelines in emergency, deathly complications, procedure situations. But think of how many babies our country has killed. You cannot tell me we haven't killed the child that could have cured cancer or that could have had a chance to change the world. Her next tweet was, abortion is overturned. Thank you, Jesus. Well, how do you do? Up yours, Amy Duggar King. It is a huge setback, and I think it sets us on the road for possible Gilead action here. They're talking about possibly overturning birth control, which would be a disaster. They're going to overturn, they're talking about overturning gay marriage. Well, I too do not like abortion. I don't want to take anyone's rights away. This isn't going to stop abortions. Jen, I know this is going to just force those who can afford it to go elsewhere. That's all it's going to do, and it's going to force poor women to have more babies, which people like Amy Duggar King will say, I don't want my tax dollars going for their irresponsibility. I can just hear it now. I can just hear it now, what they're saying. So it is a sad day. I think it sets a bad precedent. And I had to point it to my son when he said, well, they're going to overturn this and this. I said, do you understand they're probably going to overturn tobacco, marijuana, and alcohol? They're going to overturn all of that. They're going to make all of that so illegal. They'll go back to the Volstead Act, and it will be bad. That's my thing. I'm pro-life for me, pro-choice for everyone else. This is going to get real unsafe very fast. That's what I think is going to happen. Carolyn, I think they can. I think they can make that illegal and overturn it. There's already some talk of that. I think they're going to go even farther than that. I think they're going to try to go all the way back to a situation like we had back in the 1920s. I mean, taking away the rights of Americans with what they do when they're not working. Hey, Gail, I don't live in the U.S. and I'm glad in light of Gail, I don't live in the U.S. either. I'm actually just visiting here right now. My stomach is in knots. A family member of mine was raped at 17 on her way to work. She got pregnant and decided to terminate. Oh my God. Trying to take us back to the good old days. You're exactly right. And that's what I'm afraid of. There's going to be a slippery slope, I think, unless we manage to get somebody else more balanced on the Supreme Court. We're going to keep seeing this. They're going to keep stripping away rights while upholding the rights to have an assault weapon, which I don't even totally understand at all how they ever overturned the assault weapon ban, because that should have never been overturned. You have a hunting rifle, fine. If you have a reason to have a pistol, fine. But how do we get where any lunatic with $50 can get a gun without any kind of check or anything? I don't know. Term limits, exactly. I'm going to vote against all these assholes because this is just, I never dreamed in my lifetime I would see that overturned. Never, never, never. No matter how many times the pro-life people talked about overturning it. It's just, so I'm kind of freaked out today as a result. Unfortunately, the country is going batshit crazy. Nana, I think so. Guns have more rights than women. That's exactly right now, and it's crazy. What about rape, incest? But hey, you can get a gun at the local Walmart. Gail, that's exactly right. That's the horrible part of all of this. You live overseas. I live in Costa Rica, and not everybody can have a gun there. They make it very hard to have guns, but they also do not allow abortion either. I am so utterly disgusted and horrified. I've been a pro-choice supporter since the age of 14. That's 35 years of not just supporting my choice, but actually fighting for it. Another truth, yes, I hear you. And so this has just been one of those days. I am of the opinion that we need to overturn, maybe remove a few people from the Supreme Court. And I don't see there's any way to legally do it. Jackie, you would be welcome there. It's a safer environment. There's not much chance of a mass shooting. I've never seen one in all the time I've been there. The only shooting I've seen is when people came to rob the bank in Tamarindo and they had a gun and they shot the guard. That's the only gun violence that I can think of in my 5 years that I've lived there that I've seen. It's rare. It's rare. You have to prove that you are safe and you have to really jump through some hoops to have a gun in Costa Rica. And how many congressmen and judges have paid for abortions? Does this include Plan B, the day after pill? Carol, I don't know. I do know that they're talking about overturning all access to birth control. If they do that, people will be rioting in the streets because the congressmen will be shipping off their mistresses for abortions to Puerto Rico or Mexico or wherever. And those without money or options are going to be having unwanted babies. They like to say how there's no adoptable children out there. That's a bunch of BS. There are adoptable children, but you have a lot of people that don't want to adopt out of their own race. They don't want to adopt different kinds of people. They don't want to adopt anybody who's not from their own background. So there are always children out there to adopt. Instead, they're saying that this will increase adoptable infants. I don't think so. I think this is going to create more death and destruction. Do you know there are fewer abortions now than there was before abortion was legal? Keeping abortion safe and legal is essential to our freedoms in the U.S. Now we have a certain party that wants to restrict everything to do with women's bodies. It was a Missouri representative who argued that about ectopic pregnancies. Dude should do minimal research of women's reproduction before proposing bills. Exactly. I really think moving out of this country, if it keeps going, being from Puerto Rico and it being a Commonwealth, so I think it's not an option. Jackie, I don't know if Puerto Rico is going to be bound by the laws of the U.S., even if it is a Commonwealth of the U.S. Tubal ligations, I don't know how they're going to affect that. I thought about that too, as far as hysterectomies, because when I had my hysterectomy, I was still going to my fundamentalist church, my quiverful church, and I can't tell you the types of grief I got for taking that choice. And it wasn't like I had a lot of options either, because I was having such severe bleeding that every month my red blood cell count would drop. It had become a situation where either I was going to die or have the stupid hysterectomy. They don't want to drop brown kids with disabilities or mental health issues. They want those kinds of people to languish in hospitals and foster care, whatever, it's evil. Exactly. They are looking to increase the white birth rate so they have white children to adopt. So they are glorying in this. And I find that about as disgusting as one can get. They also make it so unbelievably expensive to adopt children. More than 2,300 children age out of the foster care system every year. Shiloh, I know I have friends that are foster parents that have had all kinds of issues with the system. I had to have a hysterectomy at 32. I had female problems my whole life, so they're going to tell me I can't do that. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I had problems from the time I first started my cycle, and I finally had the hysterectomy in my 40s. People need to study the all-out ban on abortion in Romania at that time. So many women died. Exactly. And the orphanages were filled with kids. My daughter did a mission trip to Romania, and at that time, most of the kids from the Ceausescu abortion ban in the orphanages were teenagers. And she told me some things about them. It's horrible for a child to be raised in that kind of environment. Sad day for women. States will determine abortion rights. Blue states will be pro-choice. This shouldn't be a political issue. You're exactly right, Warrior. I think this should be one of those issues that people determine for themselves. If you don't like abortion, great. Don't have an abortion. Probably. They can be too conservative on some things. They might use the migration issue as a way to ban it there as well. Oh, no, I hear what you're saying, Jackie, because I think that may be a thing they do. If Mexico starts stepping up their abortion provider services, and I saw a piece on them yesterday where they were doing that, and they said they're having waves of women come over from Texas to have abortions in Mexico because they have no other options. And if that happens, if that becomes a big thing, I think we're going to see some U.S. laws put into place about where you can actually travel to. And I think the border will be closed between Mexico and the U.S. in both directions if that continues. So it's a mess. And I don't know what the answer is to any of this. But I think about all the kids out there that, and as kids, we're going to, there have been too many times 12-year-old girls have been raped and have conceived. And I think about that. I talked to my best friend the other day, and she's always been a conservative Christian as long as I've known her. She told me, she said, she was finally against abortion, the abortion group, the anti-abortion group, the Right to Life people, after years of supporting them. What was the kicker? It was for her the possibility a 12-year-old girl could be raped by a family member and forced to carry that baby to term. For her, that was the kicker that took her over from that praise Jesus, abortion has been banned side, to thinking about it and saying, now, wait a minute. Abortion may not be my choice, but it needs to be kept as a choice for everyone. And that's really scary because a lot of medical schools have stopped teaching the procedure because of pressure from the anti-abortion groups. So as time has gone on, even without having laws that promote it, that ban it, it's already become difficult to have an abortion in the U.S. And if they start closing borders and making laws about banning women from this and that, it's just gonna go badly for them. And it's gonna go badly for everyone. I'm actually frightened right now of what's gonna happen in the US with all of this. And I don't know how many of you watch The Handmaid's Tale. I read the book years and years ago. I recently reread it. I watched the series every year when it's come out, the new season. And at first I was thinking, this could never happen in the U.S. When I read the book, I thought this is some kind of fictional world that could never exist. Well, now I've seen enough of I've seen enough where I think it's a possibility. It's a possibility for us. And I think we're going to have to fight against that as women. Those of us that are feminists, we're going to have to fight hard and oppose this every way we can. But the best way we can oppose this is in the ballot box. Vote against anybody that is for this. Just vote those bastards out of office. That's the only thing we may be able to do. That, and try and stop the country from becoming Gilead. Because if that happens, it's really going to get bad. You think it's bad now? You think the prices are too high and everything else? As all this stuff goes on, it just makes things worse and worse. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go before I have a fit here, because it's just been one of those days of just ranting and babbling about this. I would say have a good day, but this is a sad day for all of us, I think. This is a day when this is a day of sadness, because it really impacts all of us in different ways.